Welcome back to Good Day on this Thursday morning. Well, I'm so excited to talk with Grammy Award-winning Christian music artist Stephen Curtis Chapman. He's achieved more #1s on Christian radio than any other artist, with 47 and counting. Stephen, thank you so much for joining us today. Many of your songs have ministered to me, and I know many other people, and I'm so excited to talk with you about your new album. It's available at Cracker Barrel stores. It's called Deep Roots.
That's right. Yes, thank you. It is good to be with you guys. How's everybody in Albany today?
Well, we are doing great. Can you go ahead and tell us what your album's all about?
Yeah, this is an album that I have wanted to make for really my whole life. I grew up in Paducah, Kentucky. I grew up in bluegrass music world. My dad played music when I was a kid, played bluegrass music with his buddies on the weekends, and the earliest music I remember hearing as a kid was banjos and fiddles and mandolins and upright bass, and so that music's kind of been woven in through my music over the years. But I've always said, one of these days, if I get the opportunity, I would love to make a record that really honors the deepest roots musically for me, and also, obviously, if you know anything about my music, my faith is woven throughout my music as a Christian, and hymns that I grew up with in the church have been a big part of the musical fabric of my life. So finally, I got the opportunity, thank you to Cracker Barrel, wonderful partners who came to me and said, hey, what do you think about doing some hymns and maybe sort of in the style of music that you have never really been able to fully do on an album in a bluegrass style? So I was like, absolutely, let's do it, please. I would love to. And so many things about it. I got to, make music that I love, play, the kind of music that I've wanted to play and make an album of. And I got to have my dad, who taught me so much about music and my faith, and my whole life is just so much of it has come from my dad and my mom and my family. So I got to involve my dad and my brother, and my son sings with me on a song. My new daughter-in-law sings with me, and my bluegrass big brother, Ricky Skaggs, sings a song with me. So it's just been an amazing project. I'm very excited about it.
So now, how did you choose what songs to put on your album?
Well, that was one of the really probably hardest parts about making this record. So much of it was so easy, just getting in a studio with guys that I've wanted to play and make music with for many years, some great bluegrass players. But the hardest part was really deciding about the songs, because when I started to think, well, I'll just pick some of my favorite hymns, it was like, okay, that list is 200 songs, So what do I do? But I really started to look at some of the stories behind the songs. As a songwriter, primarily, first and foremost myself, I really wanted to look at these songs that I'd grown up with, but what's the story behind it? What was the songwriter hoping to really communicate in that lyric? And songs like Blessed Assurance and What a Friend We Have in Jesus, and songs that maybe growing up in the church and hearing those over and over again, they kind of become almost a novelty. You sort of hear that as it sounded with the, with the church organ going and all of that when you were a kid. But to really start to look at the lyrics and the story of the life behind that song, I really connected with certain ones in a deep way. Certain ones in particular that had stories of loss, grief, which anybody that knows our story and our family have walked through some really deep places, losing my youngest daughter in an accident. And so I really connected with some of those stories behind the songs. So those rose to the surface, I guess. And then I actually got to include 4 or 5 of my songs that I've recorded before over the past 25 years that I've always wanted to re-record someday, and really songs that have even become more important to me in the last 4 or 5 years as my family and I have walked through what we have together.
Of course. And now, I'm sure that was not an easy task, but what was it like working with your family? That must have been really fun. Or did you have any kind of controversy going on?
It was funny because my dad, when I was a kid, my brother and my dad and mom and I sang together. We'd spend hours around the kitchen table. That was our rehearsal hall. And we'd sit around the kitchen table, and my dad was and is still, to some degree, a perfectionist, and which I'm thankful for now, because I think he taught me to, if you're going to do it well. Sure. But I would have thought, and sort of thought, going in the studio now that I've been doing this for a long time, and my dad is a music store owner, guitar teacher, that I would be the guy kind of in charge. But it immediately, as soon as we got in, it was my dad again saying, now, Herbie, you know, with my brother, Herbie, you're singing a little flat. Now, Steve, I think you should do this, you know. So he was running the show for the songs that he was a part of.
That is so funny.
It was so good, so good.
Well, I'm so glad to hear it. And if you guys are interested, our viewers, in picking up this CD, you can get the album at Cracker Barrel store locations, plus online at crackerbarrel.com and at amazon.com and iTunes. Again, Stephen Curtis Chapman, thank you so much for talking with us this morning, and we look forward to seeing many more wonderful projects to come from you in the future.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Good to be with you.
All right, we're going to go on over to Melanie now and see what she's cooking up.